Okay, I am back from therapy that I went to after work. I know that I said that I was not going to share with you my current therapy, but this is the last therapy session of 2018. We will be starting fresh and new in the new year, and I'm sure I will be dealing with the same issues and the same problems. It's not like at the end of each year all your problems goes away, as we all know, but I will be approaching everything from a attempted new perspective. So for me, that means that basically whatever was gone over this year in therapy, I will not forget, but I will try to reflect on it from a different perspective. I also want to share this for people who might be apprehensive about going to therapy or have a false idea of what therapy is, or people who have had bad experience of therapy and they feel like they never agree with their therapist, and so why should they go? And it's not about agreeing with or anything, it's about having open discussion. You don't have to agree with your therapist to go to therapy and for it to be beneficial. You just have to be willing to engage with your therapist. And a lot of my therapy I do edit out, but some points I left in that I am willing to share. So with that in mind, enjoy. And got some stuff to talk about. Last therapy session for the year, and basically what we have been working on, we're not going to continue into the new year. Don't think I'll talk about that yet. I want to let it percolate. What I would like to talk about, basically what was said during this therapy session. You know, I've got some backed up stuff of the first question you get asked, how are you? What have you been doing? So now you have to go through the last 2 weeks instead of 1 week, which takes longer, and you want to kind of sum it up. So you do it very quickly, like this happened, that happened, this was going on, that's going on. It's funny, every therapist I have ever had has given me the same advice, that I need to stop being friends with the people that I am friends with. And I hate getting this advice. Leaving your friends, I don't. Why do therapists recommend to stop seeing your friends or family for that matter? Obviously, when you go to therapy, you're talking a lot about your feelings and frustrations and things that are affecting you. And obviously, the things that affect you the most are the things that you are closest to, or the people that you are closest to in this case. Now, a therapist's job obviously is to try and guide you to the path of least resistance for your mental benefit. And obviously the quickest way to do that is to remove the frustrations from your life, which in some cases can be your friends or family members that for whatever reason are causing to you to have conflict within yourself. Not with them, but within yourself. Now, I'm in an interesting position because I have been that person that people have had to remove from their life so that they are more mentally stable, or that that their lives are more relaxed and easier to manage. Because, you know, who needs a drug-taking schizophrenic in their life, or a drug-taking unstable person who doesn't even know that they're schizophrenic? So I know what happens when the people who have different circles or different aspirations, or are just in different parts of their life. You know, when these people leave your life because of the way that you are using substances, or the effect you are having on the people around you, you end up in a circle of also really nice, beautiful people, but are also using substances. So you end up within a circle of friends who are who are encouraging each other's dependencies, and you become this big circle of codependence on whatever activity or whatever substance or whatever religion. And this is how society gets so separated. Now, I understand perfectly well that for my individual benefit straight away, removing myself from that society is the easiest option. You know, I cannot accept it, I cannot change it, so I should remove it. But what if there is a somewhere in between option? What if there is the option of, okay, I cannot accept because of my experiences and what I see happening, and it is not my place to change that, and I can't change that. I can't change anyone else's thing, just like no one could change what I was doing by saying, hey, you need to change. This was never going to happen, and I still don't know how to tackle that. But removing my friends, I do not want to do, and I have done that in my life multiple times, and it's so here is what I come up with to my friends and to my family and to people that I work with and people that I am social with. Whenever I invite anyone anywhere, it is going to be a drug-free activity, and to be honest, I'm not going to be inviting more than a couple of people at a time, because generally more than 3 people becomes difficult for me to handle. I still will go to events, of course. I'm not going to let this thing stop me, but when I'm creating something, it will be not something that will make me uncomfortable, obviously. Who does that? Well, my past self does that, but who consciously does that? So if you are inviting me to something, and that if we are together and we are doing an activity, and the situation has come that substances are going to be involved, give me a chance to leave. Give me a chance to be like, hey friends, we're spontaneously going to smoke some weed, or we're spontaneously going to do cocaine, or we're spontaneously going to take some acid, and whatever you floats your boat, whatever you want to do. Hey friends, we've decided to go to a bar, it's going to be smoky in there, we know you can't handle it, so should we say goodbye? Awesome, yeah, perfect, cool, have fun guys. Enjoy, take care of yourselves, moderation. Don't end up like me. Let people live their lives. That way we can still be in each other's lives, still have a positive effect on each other's lives, and hopefully not end up in these damaging circles where, I'm only surrounding myself with ex-drug people, or people of sobriety, or, people who have never done drugs, which quite frankly I have very little in common with. And you see this in many aspects of life, of where, the hippies all end up together, and all the conservative people end up together, and all the right-wing people end up together, and all the left-wing people end up together, and everyone's in their own little groups. And how many hundreds or thousands of years have we been doing this for now? And how is that working out for us? I know this was just meant to be an editor's note, so I'm going to stop there. But if therapists are going to recommend that you remove your friends, I think a question that should be placed there is, before we suggest removing your friends completely, can you see a way of involving your friends in your recovery path? The best way of involving your friends in your recovery path? Another interesting point. My therapist, and I thank him for being honest with me, quite frankly. He went to get the advice of a more experienced therapist who has more experience with people with schizophrenia. His advice, his guidance, was basically to tell my therapist that it is his responsibility to get me onto medication. It is up to him to convince me that medication is the only option. And I'm thankful that my therapist basically said, okay, thank you for your opinion, and left, and told me that he does not agree with this finding, that he believes me when I say that I am keeping myself aware that I am open to going on medication when it is needed, but I am at no risk to myself or anyone else. And to be honest, I know that looking at this from the outside might seem very intense to you and might seem very erratic and might seem unstable, but I am the best I have ever been in my life. I'm completely clean, I'm completely sober, I'm reasonably healthy. I am about 10 kilos overweight, but that's another story. I'm doing good. I have a job. I am good at my job. I even manage people sometimes. And was a manager for like the last 6 to 8 months. And I have guidelines that I look out for, that I be like, okay, if this happens, I need to start considering medication. If that happens, I need to start considering medication. If this happens, I need to start considering medication. I have the phone number of my psychologist, of my psychiatrist. I am recorded up at the psychiatric clinic, which is literally, I can walk there in 15-20 minutes, probably half an hour walking actually. I am known by my friends. I have told people that I know that if I am acting like, posting conspiracy theories and stuff on Facebook, if I am going rant after rant after rant, day after day, then, ask me if I am aware that I am doing that. Not all my friends. I don't think all my friends should police me, but ones that I trust to be honest with me, to be like, yeah, look, that's friends making random connections, or that's friends, maybe jumping in the deep end of some conspiracy theory. But I haven't jumped in the deep end of any conspiracy theory for a couple of years now, or at least a year. So that's always a good judge, I think, of mental stability. If you find yourself jumping into some conspiracy theories with like, wow, that's really, yeah, you should start questioning your mental stability. Paranoia, conspiracy theories, They love one another. So yeah, I'm a bit disheartened by that, that's what a specialist thinks, the role of a psychologist is who is dealing with a schizophrenic. Now keep in mind, he didn't know anything about me. It's not like my therapist went to him and said, oh, I have this patient, he's showing these symptoms, and he didn't do that. He went to him and just said, oh, I have a schizophrenic patient and I'm looking for a little bit more advice, as he should do, and that's the advice he was given. Straight out, medication, only option. Now, in some cases, I completely agree. But have you been on antipsychotics? I mean, I don't think I've ever been more dangerous to myself or other people than when I was on medication, because I really did not care. I could not give two shits about anything. Just really, everything was easy, everything was, yeah, whatever, doesn't matter, don't care. Anyway, so then we got stuck into a conversation about what direction to take. And like I said, I've been using methods of awareness to be aware of my mental state, to when your senses are getting completely overwhelmed, to just do awareness meditation. And he's like, this is what you need in your life because you have so many frustrations. You have this. I'm like, this is what gets me through my day. This is what I do all the time. And he's like, well, you're still judging too much. And it's like, I have judgments, but I'm aware of those judgments. And he's like, no, if you're fully in the awareness mode, you won't have any judgments. And this will help you in life. But that seems to me like such an extreme one direction. And I really have an alarm bell in my head of extreme thoughts, of extreme ways of thinking. Judgments without awareness, or not being aware of your judgments, is extremely, extremely dangerous and extremely damaging and is destroying society as we know it. But being aware of your judgments, I think this is more beneficial. How are we going to fix stuff within society and within ourselves if we just try to not let it exist? If you're aware of your judgments, you can have good judgments and you can have bad judgments. And somewhere in the middle is a solution. And my therapist says that because everywhere I look, I see problems, I have so much frustration. And I'm not saying he's wrong. But how is there ever going to be any solution if we all go around not looking at the problems, not noticing the problems? Now, I am aware that when I see problems that I get frustrated, but then I'm aware of that frustration. And I try to process that frustration and I try to find roots for that frustration, and then I switch my viewpoints to science and technology, which I don't have great understanding of, but I listen to podcasts to survive. So, if I'm listening to information, I may as well listen for solutions to all these problems. And there are so many solutions going on out there, or ideas of solutions going on. And it really, really, I spent so much of my life being ignorant, and I still am ignorant on many, many topics. And right now I'm Italian. Why am I am actually 1/8 Italian, but sidetrack. Gone. Gone. Oh, Freds. We had another interesting conversation about how this was to do with the friends thing and the drug culture and, you know, the party lifestyle and why I felt so accepted in this area, or why I felt so free within this particular lifestyle. And it was because I could talk like this and I could be like this and just throw out ideas and spitball and go back and forward. And people would just say, ah, yeah, drug talk, you know. But this is what happens. So that was basically, no, wait, we were talking about judgments. Good, bad, somewhere in the middle. Being present and being aware of your judgments is just another small part of the whole puzzle of not just going through this life and not just being affected by this life and not just being like one and calm and producing this, which is also important. It's also a part of it. And I am not saying I am any example of like how people should be. If we were all like me, what a fucking disaster that would be. Seriously, game over, man. Game over. But somewhere in there is this mix of everything where we have to dance through. There's no balance. There's just a balancing point. Always fluid. Be like water. Obviously, another amazing flawed individual. And I felt for another time in my life of where the training that therapists have and the schooling that they have is so focused on the individual that, and so many people do therapy now and go to therapy, that we're medicating and therapizing. How would you even... We're medicating and teaching people to be too closed-minded with their mind open. To be too, okay, this is the way it is and I have no effect on it, so it has no effect on me. I find this very damaging. Now I know that I can pop a pill and I know that all of my frustrations are self-created and I put this on myself. But I can't help thinking something good is going to come of this. And if it gets too much and too overwhelming, I will go back on medication. And I can always go to awareness, you know, meditation, using this all the time, just being aware of my present current situation and being in the now. And you know, when it all gets too much, that's what it's there for. That's that's when you need it. But if you're managing, if you're okay and you know you're safe, and you know that you're not at a risk for anyone else, and you're just an intense person, then it's not you that needs medication. It's everyone else that wants you to be on medication. And this is where a delicate balance is. Because there might come a point when people want you to be on medication and people need you to be on medication. If you need to be on medication because you are too unstable for everybody else, and I'm talking everybody, then you have to go on medication to get yourself back to a 0 point. A complete false reality, I know, and start again. And this is what keeps me focused on keeping myself in control. Because I know that I will put myself back on medication if I have to. And I know that I will go back to that 0 point. And I know that I will despise it. And I will see how fake it is and how ridiculous it is and how this is just not helping the world, and it's only helping me, and it's only helping the people directly related to me be able to deal with me. And if that has to be done, I will do it. But until that point comes, well, accept, change, or remove. Try and accept it. If you can't accept it, try and change it. If you can't change it, it has to be removed from your life. Or you have to remove yourself from that whole situation. A year of therapy. Wusa. Winning. I don't care what anyone else thinks. This is a winner.
It's over. Aw.